You are trying to leave the house. The washing machine says 1 minute remaining, so you wait. The drum turns slowly. It pauses. It turns again. Somehow, 5 minutes later, the display still says 1 minute. If you have ever stood in front of a washing machine, negotiating with a single glowing number, you have probably wondered whether the machine is broken. But the stranger answer is that the number was never really a countdown. Your microwave counts down. Your oven timer counts down. The washing machine is doing something else. It is making a prediction about a process that has not finished revealing itself yet. That tiny display is a doorway into a much larger idea. Why modern machines often show precise numbers even when the world underneath them is still uncertain. A microwave can be simple because its main instruction is simple. Run at a chosen power level for a chosen amount of time. A washing machine has a harder job. Near the end of a cycle, it is trying to remove water from fabric by spinning very quickly. But the load inside the drum is not predictable. A towel may hold more water than a shirt. A fitted sheet can trap smaller clothes inside it. Several heavy items can collapse into one side of the drum. At high speed, that uneven weight becomes vibration. Enough vibration can make the machine shake, walk across the floor, or damage itself. So the washer cannot blindly accelerate because a schedule told it to. It has to inspect the load, test a spin, and decide whether the next step is safe. What the washer is doing has a name: feedback control. Instead of issuing one instruction and hoping reality cooperates, the machine repeatedly measures what happened, compares it with a target, and adjusts its next move. Engineers call this a closed-loop system. The loop is simple to describe: measure, compare, adjust, try again. The details can become complicated, but the idea is not. The washing machine wants a fast, stable spin. Its sensors tell it whether the real drum matches that goal. If the vibration is too high, it changes the plan. That is why the final minute stretches. The machine is not merely waiting for time to pass. It is negotiating with a physical world that keeps answering back. It finishes only when the result, not the clock, says it can. Once you recognize the pattern, you start seeing it everywhere. A thermostat does not heat a room for exactly 12 minutes and declare victory. It checks the temperature, compares the room with a setting, and responds again. Cruise control does not hold the accelerator in one position. It adds power on an incline and reduces it downhill. Noise-canceling headphones listen continuously so they can generate a response to sound that has not stopped changing. A camera refocuses when the subject moves. These machines are useful precisely because they refuse to follow a rigid script. They are allowed to notice that reality changed. The trade-off is that their behavior can look inconsistent from the outside. What feels like indecision is often adaptation. The machine is not ignoring its instructions. It is following a more demanding instruction: keep checking. The washer explains another frustration. Many numbers on screens are forecasts wearing the costume of clocks. Your GPS arrival time changes because traffic changes, drivers slow down, and the route ahead keeps revealing new information. A download estimate changes because network speed is not a constant pipe. It rises, falls, and competes with other traffic. A delivery window shifts because every earlier stop changes the probability of what comes next. In each case, the interface gives you one clean number, but underneath that number is a model updating its guess. The machine is not looking at the future. It is repeatedly asking whether the recent past is still a good guide. When the answer changes, the estimate changes. A route can become slower after the GPS made its promise. A server can become crowded after the download began. The number is useful because it summarizes the best evidence available now. It becomes misleading only when we mistake that summary for a guarantee. The display looks precise because a range would be harder to read, not because the system actually possesses certainty. Battery estimates create the same illusion. Your laptop may promise 5 hours remaining, then lose an hour because you started a video call. The battery did not suddenly forget how much energy it contained. The machine learned that you were spending energy faster. Charging estimates can shift too. A battery does not always charge at one constant rate. Temperature matters. The charger matters. The current state of charge matters. Many devices slow charging near the top to protect the battery. That is why the final stretch can feel strangely long. Again, the important distinction is between measuring a stored quantity and predicting a future event. The device can estimate how much energy is available. It still has to guess how you will use it. Whenever a display predicts time, it quietly depends on assumptions about what happens next. If the estimate is uncertain, why not say so? Why show 1 minute instead of somewhere between 1 and 11? Because interfaces have a second job beyond telling the truth. They have to remain usable. A clean number is easier to scan than a probability distribution. It gives you a simple story. The machine is almost done. Most of the time, that simplification is helpful. Imagine a washer display that showed a constantly moving confidence interval, a vibration chart, and 6 competing finish times. It might be more honest and much worse to live with. But the simpler design also trains us to confuse readability with certainty. Designers compress messy systems into neat displays because the alternative can overwhelm people. The trouble begins when the neat display hides the kind of number we are looking at. Is it a measurement? A fixed countdown? A forecast? Those are different claims. They deserve different levels of trust. Precision is not proof that a machine knows more. Sometimes precision is simply the shape an interface chose for uncertainty. There is a practical way to read these numbers. Ask what kind of system is behind the display. If the steps are fixed, the environment is stable, and the machine is executing a known sequence, the countdown deserves more trust. A microwave is usually close to this model. If sensors are still collecting information, external conditions are changing, or the machine is pursuing an outcome rather than a schedule, treat the number as an estimate. GPS belongs here. Downloads belong here. Charging belongs here. Your washing machine belongs here. The useful question is not, why is the timer wrong? The useful question is, what conditions is the system still measuring? Once you ask that, many irritating machines become more legible. They may still make you late, but at least you understand the argument they are having with reality. Now return to the laundry room. The machine still says 1 minute. The drum turns slowly, pauses, and tries again. But the pause looks different once you understand it. The washer is checking whether the load is balanced. It is testing whether a fast spin is safe. It is revising an estimate because wet fabric refused to arrange itself according to a schedule. The machine is not necessarily bad at telling time. It is doing something harder than keeping time. It is predicting how long a changing process will take while the process is still happening. The same is true of the route home, the download bar, and the battery indicator. The display offers a simple number because simple numbers are useful. Just remember what kind of number you are looking at. Your washing machine says 1 minute remaining. What it really means is 1 more minute if the world cooperates.